Are we live? We're live. We're live, everybody. Let's turn the lights down so my face doesn't look like a yellow sun. Yellow sun, won't you come? Here, get on here. That Soundgarden? I don't know what I'm doing. Hi, everyone. Are you joining me on the internet? It's 3:05 Sunday. Events. Let's get this going. Let's make sure everything is going right now. Let's make sure it's public. Let's make sure it's public. Oh, this is weird. Now we're in a loop. Hey, people are here. Redneck Economics is here. Stunt Entertainment is here. Canon 80 is here. Let me turn this down. How's the sound and everything for everybody? Good? Good quality sound? My favorite color, well, I used to say red when I was a kid. My favorite color actually is more like a blue, like this sort of light blue. I like that a lot. Because it's like the Dark Knight. Went surfing today with Putin and Jill Stein and a bunch of sexist burn bros. It was a lot of fun. I've been sick the last 2 weeks, like run down, and it was great to be surfing again. Surfing is a spiritual event for me. Good sound, good video. Hey from Phoenix, what's up? Shelby Hall, how you doing? What's my favorite animal? Dolphins are my favorite animal because surfing, when they show up, you know there's no sharks around. I had a dolphin go under my board once. They're pretty good surfers. They're kind of aggressive. Can't go near, you can't get too fighty with them. Taj Marie, I'm on the East Coast from Durham, North Carolina. Oh, I like Raleigh, Durham. I used to play Charlie Goodnights. Now I believe it's called the Helium Comedy Club. Billy Joe Kane, Austin, Texas. Yeah, there was a crazy-ass tech problem with YouTube last week. It was so frustrating. It took me like 40 minutes. And I tried it on my phone. I tried it on Wirecast. I tried it on my laptop. I tried it. And so someone was like, go to Periscope. And I went to Periscope. And then all these jackwagons on Periscope were just like, stop, just saying dumb crap. And I was like, oh, this is why I hate Periscope. I forgot. My favorite food, I can't say I have one favorite food. I like most Asian foods because I'm not full vegan, but dairy doesn't agree with me. I don't like dairy. I'll have eggs every once in a while, but I don't like bread because I'm not like, I don't have the celiac disease, but when I eat, like the wheat in America, let me give you a little story here. One of the reasons why so many people are like saying they're going gluten-free is because we have so produced in the genetically modified wheat. The wheat stalks in America are like massive, so there's too much gluten. I know people that have had a serious gluten intolerance, have gone to like Italy, had pasta there, and had no problems. Because our wheat is so, we've overdone it, as we do in everything in America. So, I like Asian food. I like Thai food, I like Indian food, I like Japanese food, I like Chinese food, I like rice and vegetables. I guess I'm technically a pescatarian. I eat seafood on occasion. Billy Joe Kane, Jimmy says he's coming to Austin soon. Oh, keep it weird, Billy Joe. I'd love to come to Austin. I love. What up from Scottsdale? Plantastic Life. Greetings from the frozen tundra in upstate New York. Man, stay warm. You guys are getting some gnarliness. Stunt Entertainment, where do I live? I live in Los Angeles, California. Crockett 2. Your wheat is full of glyphosate. Glyphosate. Yeah. Glyphosate? That's right. Sure. The Natural Progressive. 8 gram glyphosate is in wheat too. They use it to kill so they can harvest it sooner. Thank you guys for giving us more information. Vegan smoothie break. Happy New Year, everybody. I didn't really get to do it last week because it was all gang. So, Erica Aris, hello from a captive in Iowa. Hey, what's up, Iowa? Shirley Vick, hello. Joe Hickey, Happy New Year, mate. I'm assuming that you're from Australia. The Natural Progressive, Happy New Year, everybody. What an exciting time we're living in, everyone. It's 2018. I want to say this again. I've said this before, but I just want to thank you guys for supporting the show because it was January 2nd, 2017 when I released my first video. I had 164 subscribers. We now have over 7,000 subscribers. That's with all of YouTube's shenanigans. And the show's making decent money. I've hired a part-time producer. It's all good. My goal in 2018 is to start producing more videos. Josiah Ewing, I heard Florida is getting snow probably between 100 years since Tallahassee, but climate change isn't real. Yes, it's a liberal myth. Turbog 100, it's the year of the dog. All right, who let the dogs out? Sounds like the Chinese New Year. Scrabble Eddie, Attorney General Jeff Sessions is planning to rescind the federal policy that has enabled Americans to grow, sell, and use cannabis in places where it has been legalized without federal intervention. And I say good for him. We don't need this hippie demon weed turning our children into schizophrenic murder. No, yeah. Jeff Sessions is out of his mind. And California, weed became recreationally legal January 1st. It was a measure that was passed in November of 16. I'm all for it. I don't smoke weed. I'm completely sober, but I'm all for it. And Jeff Sessions, you know, will support a pedophile, but if they smoke weed, then they're bad. It's another example of how the Trump administration is just, you know, it'd be nice to just say they're out of touch, old white rich people that think weed is the thing, but let's be honest. It's the pharmaceutical company that are like, woo, we can have people smoking weed. We need them on Adderall and all this other bullshit that fucks with their body. Now, weed can mess with you. It can make you paranoid. It can make you unproductive. It like anything, if it's not done in moderation, if you do it too much, if you work out too much, if you go running too much, you can hurt your body. So weed, like anything, needs to be done in moderation. But the pharmaceutical companies do not like that it is legal, and that is why they are pressuring the Trumpacy to shut it down. What's this? This is a good one here. The greatest man ever. Yeah, but Trump said it was a states' rights issue. I love how Republicans only think things the states... Well, yeah, that's my favorite thing about the Republicans. More power to the states. Whenever there's a Democrat in the White House, the Democrats are trying to tell you how to live, except for legalized marijuana and gay marriage and everything else, then we're going to come in and shut it down, which is just so ridiculous. So Republicans, you know, are all for states' rights. Right. It's a states issue, and it's why the state of California, you know, and I'd love for the state of Colorado to start weighing in on Jeff Sessions' nonsense, because Colorado has already been having it for 2 years now. And they've seen teen alcohol and hard drug use has dropped since legalization of marijuana in Colorado. The state is making more money. There's more jobs. They're building homeless housing, from what I understand. Anybody that lives in Colorado, you know, send me some more information on it. I'll do a video on it, especially... So Karen Sheets, California is pretty much saying fuck you to the federal government. You are correct, and I'm glad that they are. I'm glad that they are. Grizza, hey Graham, greetings from Germany. Ah, auf Wiedersehen. Well, I think that's goodbye, but Willkommen. I know words in other languages. I'm multicultural. Agent Dale Chomsky, I lived in Munich for a year when I was a kid. And then I flew through Frankfurt a couple of times on my Afghanistan trips and spent like a day or two in Germany. I have some childhood friends I haven't seen in 30 years that live in Germany. I'd like to go back there. My father's fluent in German. When I went to school, I lived there for a year when I was a kid, when I was 6, and the German kids beat the shit out of me. So there's some negative vibes from Germany for me. But I appreciate you watching the show. And kids being bullies doesn't condemn an entire nation. Agent Dale Chomsky, do you think the year wasted on Trump is dumb? Trump Russia, Trump is somehow uniquely evil with no policy decisions by Dems at all will haunt them in the 2018 midterms? Man, that's such a great question, Agent Dale Chomsky. Well, this is the problem of the Democratic Party. Yet again, all they offer is, oh, no Trump, we got to stop Trump. Like, if you really want to stop Trump and his unethical agenda, then come with some, here's what we're doing. And they just do little piecemeal, you know, bumper sticker bullshit. Like, we're reducing the superdelegate number. No, just if you really wanted to change your party and really wanted to open it up to independents and progressives, you would get rid of superdelegates. But they can't do that. It's a wasted year on this. It's a wasted year. Of the 16 months, really, they've been 18 months. They've been talking about Trump's Russia and Russia. That's 18 months we've been talking about this shit. So it's really just, it is a waste. And I don't know. I mean, the Dems had a couple of victories, you know, in Alabama and Virginia, and they're just like, wow, this is it. Here we go. Tidal wave, anti-Trump tidal wave. Okay. But if they're just going to replace the Republicans with corporate Democrats, what changed? I think it could come back to haunt them because they keep abandoning progressives. Even with this unity conference with Nina Turner and everything, which is, you know, I love Nina. I speak her praises. She even said, opening the primaries wasn't even up for debate. They were just like, nope, they will not do that. Which just, the Democratic Party, I think, is a lost cause. I mean, there's people trying to make change from within and good for them. But I don't know. I think it will haunt them. Who do we got here? Plantastic Life, always supporting the show, guys. So just so you guys know, for those of you new, right there where it says say something, just below that you see a little dollar icon. If you click that, you can do what Plantastic Life is doing and spend a little money and your question will get put and I will absolutely answer your question or even just give you a shout out or whatever. It's a great way to support the show and get your question answered. So here's Plantastic Life, who is a huge supporter of the show. Dominic, thank you. Hey, Graham, what are your thoughts about Green Party candidate for California Governor Josh Jones? Well, the Green Party, they're the reason Trump's here. It's Jill Stein's fault. No. I don't know much about this specific gentleman, Josh Jones. I just heard about him. I'm going to do a little more research on him, so I can't like give you a definitive, here's what I think about Josh Jones. In general, I'm all for I'm all for third parties. I'm all for forming a new third party. I'm all for empowering the Green Party. I'm going to see who's running for governor and who really has the most progressive platform, and that is who I'm going to get behind. Is it going to be Josh Jones? It might be. I don't know. But I really want, as I say on this show, I want progressives. I want real change. I want real progressives, and I'm not going to back down from that. I'm not going to acquiesce. I have a handful of key issues that are my purity tests, and the person needs to check all those boxes. So I really, you know, I'd like to primary some of these corporate Dems in California as much as I can. Jerry Brown has done some decent stuff as governor, but he is still, you know, you've seen him kind of slowly over the years fade more into the corporate side of things. When he talked about single-payer health care in California, well, how are we going to pay for it? You know, and it's like, really, the state with the somewhere between the sixth and ninth largest economy in the world can't find the money. I think you could, Jerry, if you really wanted to. But since the healthcare industry pays you, you're going to say it's pie in the sky. It's a pony, like Hillary said. So, Plantastic Life. Now that we're in 2018, we're starting to get into primaries. And the California primary for senator is in June. And I'm going to pay close attention because I know I actually met a candidate that's running against Dianne Feinstein, Allison. God, I forget her last name, but she's been on the Jimmy Dore show. I met her at a party, and she seems pretty sharp. And she's with Wolfpack. So I'm going to do more research specifically on Josh Jones, but I will not be voting for a corporate Democrat. Thanks, Plantastic Life, for supporting the show. You're awesome. Zucchina, $5. Thank you, Zucchina. Both sides, thank you for supporting the show. And thank you for having a name that I can try to say with a crazy accent, Zucchina. I went surfing for the first time today in 2 weeks, and it's so like soul cleansing, you know? So I'm just, surfing is so magical for me. It's not just exercise. So that's why I have so much more. I'm so fired up. Zucchina said, both sides talk about a revolution. And I was curious how you imagine that happening. Would it be violent? Where in the country would it occur, etc.? Man, that's a great question. Heaven must be endless surfing and bottomless vegan smoothies. That's what heaven must be. Man. I think the revolution, you know, I was watching an interview today. I was watching Empire Files, and one of the many interviews that Abby Martin has done with Chris Hedges, and he was talking about fascism in America and what it's going to potentially look like. I think we need to see some like wholesale resisting, kind of like we started to see in the 20s and 30s after the Great Depression, when you saw huge labor strikes and huge labor movements. I think that's one way we need to see a revolution. We need to see we need to see more resistance like what happened at Standing Rock, which, let us not forget, that was under Obama's watch. He said, let's see how this plays out. And water protectors, a majority of whom were Native American, were shot with rubber bullets and water cannons and tear gas grenades and fun stuff like that. So that's one way it's going to look. If more people just say no and just resist, it's going to look like what happened at Standing Rock, which was a peaceful protest until the militarized government, at the behest of the oil companies, came in and they were like, oh, these protesters are violent. And it's like, So I think, Zucchina, there's going to be some resistance that needs to look like that. That was nonviolent resisting until the cops just came at them. Unfortunately, what scares me is I think what happened in Charleston or the Dallas shooting of the cops or the Baton Rouge shooting of the cops, my fear is that there's going to be violent resisting like that, and that could escalate in, you know, something like Charleston, or something what happened in Dallas could spiral out into like the riots in LA in 1992. There's a great documentary on Netflix. I think it's called Let It Burn or something like that. And it shows, it backpedals the 10 years leading up to the LA riots in 92 and what led to that. And I was like, God, there's a lot of similarities happening here. And I think what, Zucchina, when the big recession hits, and it might even happen this year, which I'm worried about, but I don't see how it's going to be avoided, unfortunately. I'd love to be wrong, but I don't. People way smarter than me and who track this stuff for a living are saying it's coming. When people can't feed their families, I mean, this is what happened in the 30s. And then there's no social services for them, and there's food shortages and stuff. That's when people are going to riot. Like, imagine the Occupy Wall Street. And when Occupy Wall Street happened, I said it's going to come back more organized and potentially more violent. If people don't have jobs, they don't have health care, they have crushing debt, and the government and the banks are not helping them, there's going to be wholesale resistance, just massive walkouts. And what I'm what the government is going to do with this militarized police force is going to react with brute force and brute violence. We've seen that. We've seen that in Ferguson. We've seen that. I mean, there's little police states throughout America. It's not across the board, but especially in inner cities and stuff, we've seen what happened at Standing Rock. They just turned the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation, which is sovereign land, they just turned that into a police state. The federal government and an oil company that hired Tiger Swan just turned that into a police state. So I think, like, is there going to be a civil war like North versus South? I don't think so, but it could be this fractionalized resistance and skirmishes, and I'm worried. I'm worried about it. So I don't know, Zucchini. I hope that answers your question. I would highly recommend watching the Empire Files with Chris Hedges and Abby Martin. It was recorded about maybe a little 6-9 months ago, but he talks about fascism, and he's very, he's a historian, so he talks about how it came to rise in Weimar Germany that became Nazi Germany. So it's an interesting thing to watch. So thank you so much for supporting the show. Marcia Smith, ausgezeichnet, Graham. Yeah, that's so great. Let's see where we're at, guys. That's how you get your questions answered. All right. And then we'll bring guns to a drone fight. You guys are having a discussion about something, it sounds like. Michael Stapleton, Pence wants a balanced budget amendment. Oh, boy. And thank you, Zucchina. Shelby Hall, when people no longer have anything to lose, violence begins. Yeah, that's for sure. That's the thing that this capitalism run amok corporate state that we're in, I don't know if the powers that be know this, but I mean, people are gonna, if they can't feed their families, there's gonna be revolt, and it can get ugly. So I don't know. The Broken Carpenter, the state violence is already happening. The people in the U.S. are widely more peaceful and less effective than the European counterparts. Non-violence is the only way, but takes time and sacrifice. That's a great point, Broken Carpenter. Where are we at here? Hey, Graham, what do you think about the National Defense Authorization Act for 2018, including a passage for regime change in Venezuela? Jesus. And also a $53 billion contract with Amazon for office supplies. Dave Galeese, the National Defense Authorization Act for 2018, yeah, we got to get Venezuela. I mean, it's funny, I've been watching a lot of Empire Files, and I've watched several videos from Abby Martin down covering Venezuela, and she's really giving it a pretty fair shake. This country just, Hugo Chavez is awful, he's awful, he's awful. And not to he's great. But she's talking to some supporters of him, but she's also talking to people, some of the resistance. The resistance is sort of fractionalized. There's like a more a violent form of the resistance, and then there's more just like, hey, we need jobs and services. And you're hearing these things all over the world. In Venezuela, it's like there's not enough jobs. They can't afford homes. It's like, does that sound familiar? And we got to get in if Venezuela has oil, so we got to go get it. And the deal with Amazon, boy, Amazon is just beginning to scare me, especially with Jeff Bezos, getting $600 million from the CIA and Amazon's reach on everything. And National Defense Authorization Act is just like more gutting of social services in America so that we can fight all these wars all over the place to push the American corporate oil machine. So, greatest man ever. Republicans are so close to being able to amend the Constitution through the state houses. That would be... where is that? That would be the end of the republic, in my opinion. Yeah, it's look. That's the thing with this presidency. The Trump administration has zero ethics. None, no ethics. So it's pretty gnarly. And if they can do it, they will. And they have complete. I mean, they have control. They don't care what the constituency thinks. I mean, their own constituency is like, why are you adding $1.5 trillion to the national deficit? Which is the Republicans always claim, oh, we cut the deficit, and they put $1.5 trillion on it. Taj Marie, speaking of which, have you read the New York Times of universities falling short of funding due to less international students enrolling? I think student loans is the next bubble to burst. Yeah, we've talked about, that's a great point, Taj Marie. We've talked a lot about the student loan bubble. Logan D'Alessandro has sent some articles in about that. So it's coming, you know. I mean, a bunch of these bubbles are going to burst and it's going to get ugly. So, I mean, yeah. You know, and less international students are enrolling. People don't want to come to this country because of the travel ban, and there's not as many jobs here in school. You know, the cost to go to schools is way out of budget. I've done shows on how the CIA has sort of infiltrated stuff. So it's at universities. It's a real issue. The Frozen Pickle. Thanks for watching the show. The Natural Progressive, $5 super chat. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Hey Graham, this is Chris, HorseGal1971. Made a new account for politics. Twitter too. I'm on with you next week. Hatch workers' rights, national parks. Oh, hey, right on. Thank you, Natural Progressive. She's a new supporter of the show on Patreon, and I believe she lives up in the great state of Utah. And thanks for supporting the show, man. And that's cool. It's smart to have a separate account for politics. I know some of you are sort of a little anonymous online because you work at jobs where you don't want to get, and I totally get that, man. I don't want anyone to lose their job or whatever. I don't want anyone. So if you got to be anonymous, I get it. Just don't be a punk and talk shit behind an anonymous profile. You know what I'm saying? The Natural Progressive. So yeah, we have scheduled a Skype. She signed up for the Skype interview. I look forward to doing that. Those Skype interviews, you guys at the $25 level Patreon, have been so interesting for me. The Mitch Heldt one, man, was that informative. And you guys, I learned so much from you guys. Independent Outsider, Redneck Economics, I've learned so much. You guys inform me as much as I inform you. So I look forward, Natural Progressive, to you and I speaking on Skype. You guys will all be able to see that next week. I think we do the interview on the 13th. So either the 13th or 14th, I will drop that. I should say this. So starting January 14th, the next almost 12 Sundays in a row, I'm shooting the TV show. If you're in San Bernardino, go to grahamelwood.com. You can get and support the show. It's FNX First Nations Network. It's the first ever Native American stand-up comedy show. Stand-up comedy is a American art form, so it stands to reason that Native Americans should be talking about it. And what they have to say, these comics have a lot of shit to say, and it's awesome. So support that show. If you're in the Southern California, come out to one of the tapings. So this is the last time until probably April that I'll be doing Super Chats on a Sunday. Starting next week, I'll start doing them on a Saturday. So thank you for that. Thank you for reminding me that. Natural Progressive, we will talk next week. And thank you for supporting the show. And we're going to talk about Orrin Hatch. Oh, God, is he a jackwagon? We're going to talk about workers' rights and national parks. I'm excited for this conversation, National Progressive. Natural. I'm changing your name. You're progressing naturally. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Where are we at here? Shelby Hall, taking down my war on Christmas tree. Good for you, Shelby. I took mine down. It used to be right there. Greatest man ever. Abby Martin is what a reporter should be. She's way braver than me. I wouldn't go to those places she goes to. She's amazing, man. Like, she is an inspiration. She's down in Venezuela, and her producer are like getting tear gassed. And they got, you know, and she just pointed out the actual statistics that some of the people who are resisting have actually killed some people. And then they turned on her. You know, and she's calling out the American media who's saying that all the Venezuelan media is state-run, and she went to a newspaper stand and there's a lot of socialist and independent media, and she's like, this isn't true. But then she's being fair. She's bold, man. She's listed by the Israeli government as like an agitator or something like that because she went to Palestine. It's impressive, man, what she's doing. That's what you're right. And how many reporters are actually doing that, going there and putting it all on the line like that? What do you think about QAnon, and do you think Trump is really going after the human traffickers, Satanists? That's from Ken D. I'm not quite sure about this QAnon, and I doubt Trump is going to go after human traffickers. I really doubt it. Human trafficking is a horrible, horrible crime, and it is awful. And it affects, there is more people, there are more that are, if you're a sex slave, there's more slaves now than at the height of the slave industry 400 or 500 years ago. So I have no faith that Trump is actually going to go after these people. There must be some ulterior motive. There must be some big paycheck that one of his companies are getting. I don't know. The private prison industry or somebody. I don't have any faith in Trump doing the right thing on anything at all. Karen Sheets, alt-right is threatening to strike back at UK if they do not invite Trump to the wedding in United Kingdom. What can they really do against them? Oh, God. They're going to throw rocks in the windows of Irish pubs? Outlaw darts? Ugh, idiots. Stephen Carl, tax cuts plus market bubble plus no health care plus automation equals bloodbath. Looks grim. Yeah, Stephen Carl, I mean, that's a legitimate thing, man. I'm really worried, you know, and if it does come to that, I hope it's the kind of thing that brings about real change. Like there was a lot of revolutions and riots in the 60s and 70s, and it brought about some change. There was a lot of that in the 30s, and it brought about some change. So I don't know, man. I don't know, but you're not wrong. I mean, that's the thing. I'm trying not to be scared or overly pessimistic or whatever, but it's a legitimate thing. God, we got over 105 viewers. I think this is our biggest number, man. You guys are awesome. Greatest man ever. Amazon is our version of Skynet. Yes, it is. Where are we at here? Art Kozlinski. I'm reading Only the Super Rich Can Save Us by Ralph Nader. Ooh, God, that must be a great book. Boy, you watch the other thing. I hate to sound like a broken record here, but Abby Martin has some interviews with Ralph Nader and Noam Chomsky and Jill Stein that are just amazing. There's also a great interview on the Real News Network, I believe. Chris Hedges talks to Cornel West. It's a fantastic conversation that those two guys have. All right. Where are we at here? The Mad King George, the first king of Australia. Australia sucks. All right. I don't know what that's all about. Ernie B., did you see the Vox interview with the doctor from Yale about Trump? I did not see that interview. James P.W. Martin, in my opinion, they're trying to cause another economic crash, but this time make it so the government can't recover so the corporations can officially buy the government. Ooh, boy. Man, James P.W. Martin, that could be right. They might just so then we can have, they might be pushing for it so they can make this just a complete police state. Oh, too many riots. Cops on the streets, military on the street, the corporations run it. Private prison industries skyrocket. I mean, that very well might be the case. Scrabble Eddie, they already own it. That's funny. Basil Peterson. There is one with Hedges, Wolf, and Cornell, very enlightening, talking about Thomas Paine and common sense. Yeah, there's some great interviews out there. Michael Stiegel Jr. Smart people don't usually tell you they are smart. Yeah, that's true. I know. They don't have to do that. It's dumb people that I'm smart. I got smarts. Greatest man ever, Graham. Who would be your pick for president in 2020? Well, if Tulsi Gabbard or Nina Turner ran, it would be either one of them. And if they ran together, I would double down on that. I hope it's Tulsi Gabbard or Nina Turner. That's what I hope. If Bernie wants to run, I think he's really dead set on running as a Democrat. I don't see them giving him the nomination. They'll screw him over again. I would love to see like Bernie and Tulsi or Bernie and Nina run. Like Bernie, Nina run as independents and win the White House as an independent. And, you know, their Secretary of State is Tulsi Gabbard. That would be fantastic. Mr. Stoney 21, do you believe we really won't recover from this next crash? I don't know. I mean, do I think we won't recover? I don't know. I just don't know how you can have two massive recessions within 10 years of each other. The last one was 10 years ago. It was 2008. We're going to have another one? Two massive ones within 10 years? People are barely pulling their heads out. Like, I know so many people that are like just small business owners or whatever who are like, I can't afford another recession. I cashed out my life insurance policy. I took a third mortgage on my house to keep my business going. They can't do it again. Like some comedy club owners and stuff. He's like, I can't withstand another recession. I weathered the last one, but I can't do it again. I weathered the storm, but I didn't like build back up to pre-recession numbers. I don't know, man. Joe Hickey, would it make that much difference if Bernie and Tulsi are both pro-Zionist? I don't know that Bernie is pro-Zionist, friend. I heard him talk about acknowledging Palestine numerous times on the campaign, and it was one of the things. I saw this interview with Rosario Dawson, the film actress, and she just was like, isn't it amazing that a Jewish man is talking about we need to acknowledge Palestine? So I think he would. I don't think he's a Zionist. I think people just, oh, he's Jewish, so he must be a Zionist. And then I've heard him say things that just, Joe Hickey, he didn't stop Syria. That is a worry. You know, that's a good point. He didn't speak out against Syria. Tulsi did. Tulsi spoke out against us bombing Syria. She went to Syria and then was labeled by the left, by the corporate Democrats, as being pro-Assad. So, it's a legitimate issue. Like whoever gets, like, let's say an independent or a big progressive one got the White House, could they withstand the pressure from Israel, from the military-industrial complex, from big oil? Could they? That's the question. The Broken Carpenter, watches AIPAC speech. It was ballsy. The Natural Progressive, we all need to be critical of everyone, even Bernie. That's absolutely true. I've said that before. That's a great question, a great statement, Natural Progressive. Just because we all loved Bernie and wanted him to win doesn't mean we just give him a free pass. You're right. If he, he hasn't been very vocal about the military, and he hasn't been like, we need to cut the military budget. He's like, we got to go after we can't give Wall Street and all that stuff's great, but he won't go after the military budget as much. And that's like, oh, you can't touch the military, which that I wish he would do more. Katie Hughes, hi Graham, nice to see you again. What are your thoughts on, have you heard of Debbie Louisnignan. Sorry. That's the same progressive, right? If that's the same progressive, Katie, I love the same progressive. She's great. She says she is so critical of Bernie, and I really will listen to everything she's talked about. I'm not as aggressively critical of Bernie as she is, but man, I applaud her for saying that. She worked on his campaign, and I'm glad there's a voice out there on the left saying it. It's great that we all love Bernie, but someone needs to be calling him on it, and I'm glad she's doing it, and I respect her show so much, man. She just gets up, flips open her laptop, and starts talking. She's done some great interviews with people. I'm all for her, man. We need that. Just being a progressive doesn't mean we all agree on every little thing. It means we want real change. A progressive means we want to progress. We want to have election reform. We want to get big money out of politics. We want workers' rights. We want to end all this military stuff. And how we get around that, or our views on the specifics to attain that, might not agree. But I'm all for it, man. Mr. Stoney 21, Bernie is pretty weak when it comes to foreign policy in the Middle East. Yeah, I'd like to see that's the thing. Catherine Lassie. So apparently Hillary might run again. Hopefully a progressive doesn't get screwed again. Oh boy, Catherine. God, if Hillary runs again, I am going to be so vocal against her. I will be so vocal. It's if she gets to run for president a third time, it might be a good thing. Here's why I say this. If she runs again, I think a lot of sort of on the fence neoliberals, not the diehard Hillary supporters, they're as crazy as the Trumpers. But the sort of like, yeah, I voted for Hillary and oh man, she got screwed. If they see her run again, they're going to go, I'm out. And if that happens, and then Bernie or Nina or Tulsi or somebody like that jumps up on an independent ticket, because Hillary will steal the primary again and just go, oh, not call surprise, we did it, you know. And then just give fake lip service to progressives, and she'll actually campaign in Wisconsin and Michigan this time. But it could be a good thing, because it could finally get more Americans to go, I'm done, third party, form it, I'm behind it, let's do it. That's my thought. Bill Sales, will you offer your jury vote when your 25 square mile places criminal billionaires on trial by vote after we actually execute the first 100 of them? Would you continue advancing this superior tactic? I don't know what that means. Catherine Lessie, true, never thought about that way. Yeah, right on. Don't forget, guys, you can support the show by hitting the super chat. We've been talking for about 43 minutes. Josiah Ewing, at what point does Hillary just take her money and disappear? She never will. She is an insane narcissist. She is a much smarter narcissist than Trump. Trump is just a rich kid that's kind of failed upwards and is probably good with some business and knows how to negotiate or whatever. But Hillary's never going to leave. She can't. The Clintons are the crazy type of baby boomer narcissists. They are so power hungry and so narcissistic, they can't leave. The most she could do is step behind and then back her daughter just so she can puppet string Chelsea. That's it. But she's never going to go away. She can't. She's just, it's a compulsion for her. She can't. She has to be there. She writes these books so she can go on a book tour and say, oh, I take full responsibility for my losing the election, except for Jill Stein, Putin, Comey, Bernie, bros, you know, like, let's see. Jeremy Chase, the rich are very toxic and will kill you if you eat them. Yeah. Mike Riddle, Cory Booker is not better than Hillary. Yeah, that's a good point. Katie Hughes, I've done a little research on narcissism, and Trump is more the classical overt narcissistic, and Hillary is definitely the covert narcissistic. Yeah, and she plays that like fake humility narcissism, you know? And that false modesty, like, oh, little old me, like, yeah. Jermaine Haskell, Graham, the Clintons are influence peddlers. That is the source of all their money. And if they give up their influence, poof, there goes their cash. Man, Jermaine, that's such a great point. So let's unpack that a little bit. Let's go to the Clinton Foundation. That's where so much of their influence comes. So they get money from the Saudis. They get money from Oman, Qatar. They get money from Boeing. They get money from ExxonMobil. They get money from Goldman Sachs. They get money from George Soros, right? So they get money from those massive. The reason people pay into the Clinton Foundation is because the Clintons, then they're buying influence. So one of the reasons Hillary lost her shit after the election was she had been paid all this money and had to pay back all these favors. And some of these people bailed and were like, all right, well, we're going to back Trump because he's in power now. The neocons in DC wanted Hillary Clinton because she's pro-war. Trump on his campaign was talking about pulling out troops and what are we doing and why are we friends with Saudi and why are we in Afghanistan and why are we in Syria? Trump said those things. Now those of us on the left heard Trump speak and go, yeah, he's nuts. I don't believe him. But a lot of working class white people went, oh, I believe him. So that's such a great point, Jermaine, that you bring up. That's such a great point because they have to stay in power. Because if they don't have any influence over policy, then why would anyone give them their money? It's such a great point. Man, they have to. God, what a great point. You guys are so fucking smart. My God, last week was so disheartening when I couldn't get the tech thing figured out and I had to go on Periscope and listen to these jackwagons on the internet. Like, we get a dumb troll here once in a blue moon, but you guys just ask really smart questions. Joel Sass, thank you for supporting the show. $5 super chat. Graham, I'm seeing reports of Huma Abedin being indicted regarding Clinton pay-for-play and Uranium One. Any comment or news that you've seen? I have no comment at this time. I cannot confirm or deny the Clinton people are fine people. There are more I was just reading there's some more indictments and more investigations being opened up about the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation. So Uranium One, New York Times did a story on this and how they put money into the Clinton Foundation, going back to the influencer thing we were just talking about. Russian business people paid Bill Clinton, I believe, $500,000 to come out. They have ties to the Kremlin. And the Uranium One article was debunked by Snopes, which we later found out. Jimmy Dore did a great video on it showing how Snopes has given money to the Clintons, and so Snopes then starts saying this is debunked. So then neoliberals go, see, the Uranium One thing was debunked. It was just some kind of Republican smear campaign. No, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. It is a real thing. So I think what is going on, my opinion here, being that the Clintons and the Trumps, they're the same thing. Let's just call them the clumps. Being that the Clintons got all this money just assuming Hillary was going to win it was just a foregone, she was going to win. So when she lost and then all these people started jumping ship and going to, well, Trump's in power now. I think what happened, what I just figured out was like all this Russia stuff is some sort of like deep state battle. You know, like a member of the Rothschilds, one family member is with the Trumps and one is with the Clintons or something. There's just some sort of deep state battle. So I think that they are going to open up more investigations of Clinton. And I'm not hearing any new stuff that I haven't heard before, but I'm wondering if, because what happened, like that New York Times article was released in the spring of 15, and then it didn't get picked up and it didn't go wide. Maybe now this information, if it's coming out again, will go wide. It's really hard to say, but I don't know. I mean, every time you think some bomb drops and it's going to change things, like Donna Brazile, like who thought she would ever err on the side of truth comes forward. Did it shake up the DNC? No. So I don't know. I mean, I would love to see some Clintons and Trumps in prison, in federal prison. I don't ever see that happening But I'm glad that it's being talked about again. Because it's funny, all these neoliberals are like Trump and the Russians and the blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, sure, yeah, let's investigate that. And then, here's more talk about Hillary. Like, when are they going to realize that they're all evil and corrupt? So, Joel Sass, thank you so much for supporting the show. And that's a great question. I want to see more. We're going to see how more of this thing plays out with Humna Abedin. And I want to hear more about Uranium One, because it just shows you how corrupt. At the very least, if these stories, Joel, get more neoliberals to wake up, then it's a good thing. That's a good thing. Josiah Ewing, thank you for supporting the show. Not enough super chats today, so here's $10. Thank you so much. By the way, the Allison you were thinking of was Allison Hartson. I donated her yesterday. I'm ready for Allison. Oh, great. I'm glad you remembered her last name. So Allison Hartson is running against Dianne Feinstein. The primary is in June, I believe, and she's going to start campaigning. I spoke to her and I said, when are you going to start? She goes, if I had my way, I'd start today, but obviously campaigns need money. So this is one of the things you want to talk. I talk about voting with your dollars. Don't donate to the DNC. Donate it to candidates like this, Allison Hartson. And I said, Allison, and I want to try to do an interview with her if I can. I said, well, how are you going to defeat Dianne Feinstein? She goes, I'm going to get the word out. She's been on TYT. And it's conversations like this. And it's Josiah Ewing doing a super chat so that I mention her name. It's Allison Hartson. Google her. And if you like her platform, she's running against Dianne Feinstein. There's some other people, but this is the kind of thing we need. We need corporate Democrats like Dianne Feinstein ousted. And, I'm going to do some more research on Allison Hartson, but what I've saw of her from the Jimmy Dore show and speaking to her personally, she's on the ball, man. She's ready to go. She's a real progressive, and she's ready to make some change. And she's ready, they're with Wolfpack. And from my understanding, Wolfpack doesn't take any corporate money. So she's about primarying Dianne Feinstein, which I'm all for. I'm going to research some of these other candidates, but more than likely, I'm going to endorse her. I haven't yet, but I'm going to. And this is the kind of thing. I'm glad you brought this up, man. She's the real deal, and as Josiah Ewing just said, she comes from Wolfpack. Wolfpack I would do some research on too. For those of you who don't know, do your own research. And this is awesome. And if you like what she's doing, donate to her campaign, because Dianne Feinstein has a big war chest. She can ramp up that big corporate machine and get all these neoliberals in the Bay Area to write these big 5- and 6-figure checks for her campaign, and boom, it's a done deal. And her whole I guarantee you Feinstein's whole campaign, resist Trump, blah, 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 blah. You mean like when you voted for Mike Pompeo? Go to cabinetvotes.org. Dianne Feinstein voted for the majority of Trump's cabinet people. And when your neoliberal friends go, yeah, but what is she going to do? The guys were going to get voted anyway because there's more Republicans. All the more reason to resist. All the more reason to have an ethical, that's how bad politics are. We're not expecting our politicians to have an ethical compass and say, I'm going to vote against this cabinet voice because I'm morally opposed to this person. I don't like their policies. I don't like their past history. I don't care if I lose. This is the right thing for me to do. And they don't, even just from a political standpoint, just to go, well, I know I'm going to lose, but it'll look good to my constituents just to vote against this guy. Wouldn't you even do that just from a savvy politician point of view? So do your research on Allison Hartson, you guys. Josiah Ewing, thank you so much for bringing her attention to her on this show. It's what I love about this. We all get to learn and get behind people we want to get behind. Josiah Ewing, thank you so much. I believe you've donated to my hair plugs in the past. Where are we at? Spectral Lit. How do you feel about the thing Macron recently did outlawing fake news during elections? Slippery slope towards corruption and state news, or good thing? Yeah, I think that's a slippery slope. I don't think you should be outlawing any news outlets at all. I don't think you should. That's not a free press. A free press is you have, you know, back in the 30s, there was a socialist paper, there was a communist paper, you know, there was a Republican paper, there was a Democratic paper. Like, we need all of these different points of view. The problem is that the 95% of the mainstream media is all corporate. It's all saying the same voice. It's all pushing the same agenda. It leans a little left, it leans a little right, but for the most part, it's pushing the American empire's agenda. So I think that's a bad thing. I think that is a slippery slope for sure. That's a great question. Boom, 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 boom. What other questions do we have, everybody? Where are we at? Jenny Lynn is here. Where are we? God, you guys are, man, there's a lot of people here. It's hard to get to all the questions. Mares, how do we get a cohesive message as progressive? National elections or cohesive Democrat or Republican messaging? Well, there's several ways to do that. First of all, it's more of us paying attention to the alternative media and exchanging ideas in a forum like this, which is great. Going to all these other super chats and having conversations, and some of you have set up your own things. That's important. So we're all sort of talking with each other versus just social media posts. I also think it's a great a great reason to start a the Progressive Party. Just start the Progressive Party and make it a real thing. And then vocally backing actual progressives within the Democrat and Republican Party. Like when I did that interview with Sam Ronan, asking him, why are you running as a Republican? He said, I'm in a red district. They won't listen to me if I have a D by my name. So I'm running as a progressive. And the interesting thing you heard in that interview, these people in this red district are hearing his progressive points of view, but because he's running as a Republican, they'll actually listen and go, maybe I agree with you. So I think those are the ways to do it. That's a great question. Marcia Smith. Here's a Happy New Year to Graham. Hoping to bump my patron level in February. Keep up the good work. Marcia, thank you so much, man. You're such an amazing supporter of this show. And it means so much to me. And you guys that donate here or at the Patreon, and some of you have just sent me money in the mail. My P.O. box is at grahamelwood.com. And then you're like, oh, I wish I could give more. Man, never feel bad. You're supporting me in whatever way you can, and I just appreciate it. Look what you guys have helped happen in a year. 7,000 subscribers in a year. And that's with YouTube demonetizing videos about war and the corporate machine. That's with YouTube unsubscribing you guys and you having to scramble back and make sure you're subscribed to the channel because they unsubscribe people. So the fact that you're supporting me, Marcia Smith, in whatever way, you have no idea. $5 might not seem like a lot, but it is a lot to me. Every dollar helps. And one of the things I'm going to start doing this month is I'm going to start spending some money on marketing to get more people to come check this out. I'm going to get Twitter followers, not the bots, but the actual ones through Twitter. And I'm going to start buying ads. I'm going to shoot just a little 30-second commercial and buy ad time on YouTube that runs during Young Turks and other progressive shows to get people to come and watch. So I really appreciate what you're doing. Happy New Year. And anything any of you can give, I appreciate it. Those of you who just do $1 on the Patreon, $1 a month, that's $12 in a year. That's like 2 lattes. I appreciate that. So, Marcia Smith, you're awesome. You're such and you're a great voice on these super chats every Sunday. So, you keep up the good work. No, you keep up the good work. Stephen Carl, come play Santa Cruz this summer when you're done shooting. Yeah, we're talking about that. Ron Placone and I are talking about putting together a progressive comedy tour. And so Hey, Mares, Gio would looking tight and fit in V-neck shirts. I like tight shirts. I like tight shirts, so I show my guns. That's all vegan smoothie surfing powered. But back to your thing. So Ron Placone and I are talking about doing a progressive comedy tour. We'll probably start just little things on the West Coast to see it. Because here's the reality of it, going on the road as a comedian. You got to sell a certain number of tickets to justify the cost of travel. So if we don't have enough ticket sales, we can't go there. So we're going to start to put it together. I'm done shooting in April, so we're looking at May. And we might do a little something in Southern California, Northern California, might go to Arizona. But natural progressive, we'll try to come to Utah. So Santa Cruz is very reasonable. We got to find venues. Yeah. Let's go. What does he put in the smoothie? I'll tell you what's in this smoothie. This one has unsweetened organic almond milk. It has a frozen, like a little half of or a quarter, third of a frozen organic banana. It's got organic frozen strawberries. I don't use ice. I just freeze my fruit. Then I've got super greens, a big pack of them. You get them at Costco. That's got like spinach and kale and some stuff that I don't like eating normally, but it's fresh. And then I freeze it and I put it in there. Then I put a spoonful of organic unsweetened peanut butter. And then I put vegan protein powder in there and I mix it up. And it's delicious. Art Kozlinski, you can't afford vegetables? Dude, get some vegetables. Come on. Mike Riddle. Where are you? Mike Riddle. Graham, I live on the East Coast. Not a whole lot of progressives here. I need help getting out the progressive agenda. I hear that a lot, Mike. And one of the things that's why that's why I think I've talked about this before. That's why I think the labor movement or a labor party or coming at it from a labor point of view is what gets the most people to listen to. Because as we talked about, if you say you're a Republican or a Democrat, some people are going to just they're going to just tune you out. But if you come from a labor point of view, and we need to bring jobs back to America, the Green New Deal, get Americans building wind turbines and solar panels, get back. I think labor is the way to kind of open the door to that conversation, Mike, to get people to listen. And find some videos that you think your friends and family might actually be willing to listen to, of mine or Jimmy Dore or, I don't know, Young Turks, Abby Martin, and say, just watch this. And they might go, huh? And that'll get their ball rolling. That's my thought. Turbo Gigi 100. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We need more emphasis on tactics other than electoral politics. As Emma Goldman said, perhaps cynically, if elections could change anything, they would be illegal. We need more people in the streets. You're not wrong. And that's the thing we talked about at the top of the show when someone was asking about actual resistance. And I think actual resistance needs to look like strikes, people walking out, people saying no. And I think people are going to get forced to that as more services get taken away, as prices go up, as people can't afford housing and schools, and when the student loan bubble breaks and 50,000 students across major campuses all over the, just 100,000, 1 million students just say, and just walk out and they all don't pay their tuition and say, we're done until you lower the tuition rates or something, and you shut that university system down. What if every student in the UC system, the University of California State College system, just said, no, it's too expensive and we're walking out, and just shut down the schools for a week and didn't pay for anything, and it would change. I think you're right. Yes, election reform is important. I'm a big believer of openprimaries.org, but Turbog 100, you're not wrong. And it's going to take massive strikes and massive resistance. And that's the thing you organize. The gentleman from the East Coast was just asking, how do I, there's not a lot of progressives here. Organize, man. Organize on a local level. Organize on your local school board. Organize on your little city or county. Organize, man. Organize within your company. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. So Turbog 100, thank you so much for the super chat and supporting the show. It's really cool that you do this. And you bring up a great point. People in the streets, non-violently protesting in the streets is an effective form of change. It affects change. When you shut down their ability to generate money, whoever they are, whatever business or organization, that's when it makes a difference. So thank you so much. Where are the other ones? I just saw one. Mr. T Jr., $5. Thank you. You didn't have a question to ask, but I appreciate you supporting the show. You guys are great. Tabitha Enriquez, I want a greenhouse for solar heating in New Mexico and a container to grow veggies. Man, Tabitha, that's a great thing. That's one of the things we talk about is you can start your own stuff like that. Slowly get off the grid. I was in an apartment. I was like, how do I compost? I found a little jar, got plastic bags that are compostable. They're made from vegetables. And then the city that I live in starts curbside. So they have a yard trimmings container that the city comes and picks up, just like they have a recycling bin and they have regular waste and they have yard trimmings. And the city started saying you could put compost bags in the yard trimmings. So that's what I've been doing. Little things like that. There are, you can find little, if you have a balcony or a window, you can find little greenhouse things and start small. Tabitha, you can do it. New Mexico, I love New Mexico. We're talking about maybe this FNX, this Native American stand-up show that I'm doing, of taking that show on the road, and we would come to areas of the country that have large Native American communities like New Mexico and Arizona and Oklahoma. So maybe we'll see you out there. Mr. T Jr., thank you. Venetia David, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Hi from London, Graham. Thank you for everything you do. I love being part of this progressive community. And we love having you, man. I love that there's people from all over the world watching this right now. It is the coolest thing. There's 128 of you all over the world. And it says several things. One, there's progressives all over the world. And the reason they're progressives all over the world is the corporate globalization of the world is hurting everybody. Workers are getting screwed over everywhere. Capitalism is hurting the entire planet. And namely, it's pushed by the American empire. So I love London. I haven't been there in maybe 10 years. I love it. I love the Indian food. I got a lot of friends there. I want to come perform there. So Venetia David, thank you so much for supporting the show. You guys are great. Couple more questions, guys, and then I got to run. But Venetia David, mind the gap. That's a London thing. It's a thing on the train. Where are we at? Alexandria M. I'm moving back to Albuquerque. Oh, I love Albuquerque. Afghanistan was in the Albuquerque Film Festival, which I don't think is around anymore, in 2009 or 2010. It was really cool. I've been to Albuquerque several times. I've performed there. Performed at the University of New Mexico with Doug Benson. I love Albuquerque. Hopefully we can get back there. Art Kozlinski, my rent is $12.63 a month for one bedroom. There's nothing cheaper. I can't move. Stuck here. I know you said the same, Graham. I Uber and Lyft, destroying my van. America 2018. Yeah, that's right. We're living a gig economy. I can't afford to leave my place. My apartment is $800 more a month. If you were to be moving into this building right now, it'd be $800 more than what I'm paying. It's insane. And they say, oh, the gig economy. Oh, everyone's an Uber and Lyft. So they say, look, there's no unemployment. No, there's just 50-some% of the country is the working poor. This is what they were talking about in Venezuela. This is what they're talking about in European countries. It's happening all over the world, which is why there's people from all over the world watching this show. Hey, Mares, there aren't any events usually close enough for me to attend, but donate to independent media when I can. Thank you so much, Hey, Mares. Thank you so much, and thank you for lighting my tight shirts. Gabriel 3G Bass. I'm calling it undesirables. Kettling. You must make 3 times the rent to live here for the shittiest places. Yeah, it's true, man. Mr. T, I love you and Jimmy, and I love you guys. Maybe in 2020, it's Dor Elwood for president. I'll be the VP. Let's do it. Catherine Lassie. Spectralit, sure. Hopefully Facebook doesn't crack down on us, though. That's for sure. Tabitha Enriquez, huge Native American population here. That's true. George Papang. Hi from Australia. I love Australia. Jeremy Chase. Tabitha, yes, you can construct raised planter boxes in a terrace like pattern. This will allow water to run down through each terrace. Oh, wow. You guys are giving her tips on how to do it. You guys are best. I love this. Somebody says, oh, man, I want a greenhouse to grow stuff, and then you guys all weigh in and help out. I love this. Phil Britton, good to see you. Use organic straw to mulch your gardens. It stabilizes moisture and heat retention and is weed. Phil, thank you so much. You guys, we're all learning here. This is fantastic. Alexandra M. I can't wait to grow salsa when I get back to New Mexico. Oh, God. You guys put salsa and chilies on everything in New Mexico, like baby formula, dessert, everything. Phil Britton, Australia just unveiled a solar power train. Ooh, somebody send me an article on that. I'd like to talk about that. That's cool. Ernie B, Natural Progressives. Jimmy said he's never running. He can barely handle his Twitter messages. Yeah, Jimmy's not running. Taj Marie at Phil Britton. Germany has the first train that runs on hydrogen. I've talked about hydrogen in the past, you guys. And the thing about hydrogen, it's here. It's just the infrastructure is the only thing. Mercedes-Benz and Toyota each have hydrogen cars. Currently, you have to lease the car and you get your hydrogen for free. It's included in your lease and you just go to the dealerships and that's how you fill up. Once we put an infrastructure in place, we can have more hydrogen cars. City of Los Angeles has said it's going to have an all electric fleet of buses by 2030. It has the largest clean air fleet. It uses natural gas, but natural gas is gotten from fracking. Nobody likes it. Fracking's bad. Tabitha Enriquez, true red or green? I'm a green. I'm a green chili. I'm all about the green. Hey. Michael Elspeth, hey, we got coal, baby. All right, you guys, that's it. I got to get running. You guys are so awesome. And I love that you're helping out this person going, it's a Manton. It's great what you guys are talking about. Alec, I love you too, guys. You guys are fantastic. Man, so you guys are great. This is why we talked for a good, almost an hour 15. So don't forget, we will, thank you. So starting next week, the Super Chats will be on Saturday. I'm going to do them around 4 in the afternoon because I think Jimmy Dore does his at 2 on Saturday because I'll be taping my TV show. If you are in Southern California, please come out. I'm encouraging a lot of these comedians to be political. I'm doing progressive material. It'll also be funny too, but you're hearing and you're giving Native Americans a voice. And they need one badly, and they're going to have it on TV on a show that I'm directing. It's so awesome. It's public access, not public access. It's public TV. It's PBS. So I'm not working for a big corporation, and You guys are fantastic. Master T Jr., go buy more plant milk. I will. So you guys are so fantastic. I just want to go through and I want to, God dang it, I'm having some, all right. I want to thank everybody. So coconut milk and almond milk are good. I think my boyfriend will enjoy the show. He's Native American. Yeah, it's all Native American comics, man. And they're talking, you're going to, if you don't know much about Native American culture, which most of us don't, because they're not represented in the media, these comics, in a very comedic, funny way, are you're learning about Native American culture. So if you're Native American, you'll enjoy it because that community is getting a voice. And if you're not Native, you're going to learn about it and have a great time and laugh your ass off. So go to GrahamElwood.com and the ticket info's there. We got a bunch of upcoming shows. Jimmy Dore is going to be doing one in March. He's a big headliner. Some of the headliners aren't Native. Jimmy will be there doing progressive politics. It'll be in March at some point. So you guys, oh wow, FNX, somebody just said FNX is digital where you live, so thanks for the cord cutter. Go to GrahamElwood.com. Let me thank all of the people who did the super chat. You guys are great. Boom, 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 boom. Live control room. Graham answers your questions. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I want to thank Plantastic Life, Zucchina, The Natural Progressive, Joel Sass, Josiah Ewing, Marcia Smith, Turbog 100, Master T Jr. twice, Venetia David, and Master T Jr. again. 3 shout outs to Master T Jr. You guys are great. I love everything you're doing. Jenny, you just put MAGA. Make Gotham great again, you guys. I love this. I love this show. I love how you guys support me and each other. I love how you're helping each other out. I love these discussions. I feel more informed when I leave them. I feel better about the world that I'm living in. I feel like that we're out there making a difference and making a change. And you guys are great, and you're getting to know each other. And please come out to the show in San